Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy and coming up over the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns home after a five-nation tour, championing the cause of the Global South, Africa and Latin America outreach and putting multilateralism and reform of global institutions at the forefront have been the major high points. Donald Trump slams 50% tariffs on Brazil. Lula hits back, citing the nation's reciprocity law. Says will not accept any form of tutelage. And in cricket, India and England are set for a Lord's showdown. Jasprit Bumrah returns to boost India's pace battery, while Jofra Archer is to play his first test in 4 years. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi returned home after successfully concluding his five-nation visit. In all the five nations, Prime Minister Modi highlighted issues faced by the Global South and also firmed up multiple pacts in areas of immense importance. The aim was deepening India's ties across continents, from Africa to Latin America and even in the Caribbean. Let's get you more details in this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi undertook a five-nation tour from July 2nd to 9, visiting Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina, Brazil and Namibia. A journey focused on boosting bilateral cooperation and strengthening India's global partnerships. In Ghana, PM Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit the West African nation in 30 years. India and Ghana signed 4 key agreements spanning culture, traditional medicine and more. In a special recognition, PM Modi was conferred Ghana's highest state honour.
Both the leaders acknowledge that this is a historic visit, for the fact that this visit is taking place at the Prime Minister level from India after 30 years. President Mahama clearly acknowledged that it is a landmark visit that is very timely and very opportunistic, at a time when Ghana is also looking for partnership with India to deepen economic engagement.
Next, in Trinidad and Tobago, PM Modi was welcomed by Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bharati, marking the first Indian PM visit to the country since 1999. Both the nations inked 6 MOUs covering infrastructure, pharmaceuticals and other sectors. PM Modi was also awarded Trinidad and Tobago's highest civilian honour, the Order of the Star of the Republic.
A total of 6 MOUs or agreements have been signed between the two countries. These are, firstly, MOU on recognition of Indian pharmacopoeia. Secondly, we signed an agreement on Indian grant assistance for implementation of quick impact projects. In addition, we had program of cultural exchanges for the period 2025 to 2028, an MOU on cooperation in sports, an MOU on cooperation in diplomatic training, and an MOU on the establishment of 2 ICCR chairs of Hindi and Indian studies at the universities of West Indies of Trinidad and Tobago.
In Argentina, PM Modi held wide-ranging talks with President Javier Milei. Both leaders pledged to expand cooperation in trade, technology, defense, health and space, reinforcing a growing strategic partnership.
The two leaders discussed the necessity of diversifying and expanding bilateral trade. The Prime Minister requested Argentina's support in expanding the India-Mercosur preferential trade agreement, noting that such an expansion can bring mutual benefits for both sides and open up new opportunities.
Prime Minister Modi then travelled to Brazil for the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio and a subsequent state visit in Brasilia at the invitation of President Lula da Silva. During the state visit, the two leaders held talks on trade and investment, defense and security, health and pharmaceuticals, agriculture, renewable energy, energy security, digital public infrastructure, space cooperation, and traditional medicine. In a special gesture, President Lula awarded PM Modi Brazil's highest civilian honor, the Grand Collar of the National Order of the Southern Cross.
One of the key areas that were discussed, it includes defense and security, agriculture, food and nutritional security, energy transformation and climate change, digital transformation and artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies, industrial partnerships, including defense industries, critical minerals, oil and gas, and also bioenergy and pharmaceutical industry, and also business and private sector cooperation.
Concluding his tour in Namibia, PM Modi was accorded a ceremonial welcome including a 21-gun salute. Talks with President Nitembu Nandi Nadaitwa focused on energy, health, education and digital cooperation. India and Namibia signed 4 agreements to deepen ties, and PM Modi received Namibia's highest honor, the Order of the Most Ancient Welwitschia Mirabilis.
Cooperation that were discussed was in the area of natural resources, because as you know that Namibia is endowed with rich natural resources like diamonds, lithium, copper, cobalt, graphite. All of these rich critical minerals are useful for our industry. The cooperation in the area of health was discussed, which also included the possibility of Jan Aushadhi being introduced in Namibia. Also supply of medicines and direct sourcing from India.
With this multi-nation outreach, Prime Minister Modi has not only bolstered strategic partnerships but also reinforced India's position as a trusted and influential global player. Bureau Report, DD India.
And now we get you highlights from Prime Minister Modi's visit to Namibia, his last port of call during the 5-nation tour. Namibia is a key development partner in Africa.
हमारी मित्रता राजनीति से नहीं बल्कि संघर्ष, सहयोग और आपसी विश्वास से जन्मी है। साझा लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों और उज्जवल भविष्य के साझा सपनों ने इसे सींचा। भविष्य में भी हम एक दूसरे का हाथ थामे विकास पथ पर साथ साथ आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे।
I have the honor to confer the honor of Most Asian Order of Vichya Milbelt to Honorable Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
मैं इस सम्मान को नामीबिया और भारत के लोगों, उनकी निरंतर प्रगति और विकास और हमारी अटूट मित्रता को समर्पित कर रहा हूं। ये संविधान की ही ताकत है जिसके कारण मुझ जैसे गरीब परिवार में जन्मे व्यक्ति को लगातार तीसरी बार प्रधानमंत्री बनने का अवसर मिला। जिसके पास कुछ भी नहीं है उसके पास संविधान की गारंटी है। In the 21st century, India's development lights a path showing that the global South can rise, lead and shape its own future. The message is you can succeed on your own terms without losing your identity. यह भारत का संदेश है कि आप अपने रास्ते पर चलकर अपनी संस्कृति और गरिमा के साथ सफलता पा सकते हैं।
And still to come on DD India News Hour. ASEAN-India Foreign Ministers meet held in Kuala Lumpur. Leaders adopt new ASEAN-India plan of action. Trump says Gaza ceasefire possible this week or next after second meeting with Netanyahu. And Armenia and Azerbaijan leaders meet today in Abu Dhabi on the peace plan.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar.
अरे it fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, India's Minister of State for External Affairs, Pavitra Margarita, co-chaired a productive ASEAN-India Foreign Ministers meeting in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, with Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Philippines, Teresa P. Lazaro. The leaders adopted a new ASEAN-India plan of action for the year starting 2026 till 2030. Aimed at expanding cooperation and strengthening comprehensive strategic partnership, ASEAN-India celebrate Year of Tourism this year. Discussions focused on ways and means to further enhance people-to-people relations. There has been a proposal to cooperate in the fields of digital disaster management as well, defense, economy, the maritime domain and health. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has arrived in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday to attend the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. During his visit, Rubio will attend a post-ministerial conference and a meeting in East Asian foreign ministers. It is Rubio's first visit to Asia after taking office, and he aims at pressing reassurance among his ASEAN partners about the region being priority for Washington. He will also meet with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and hold trilateral talks with the Philippines and Japan. Marco Rubio will also meet with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on the sidelines of the ASEAN meeting. The meeting comes in line with the United States preparing to send more weapons to Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron is due to attend a summit in the UK aimed at rebooting defence ties with a focus on joint missile development and nuclear cooperation. Macron and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer are also expected to discuss maintaining support for Ukraine and curbing undocumented cross-channel migration. For the first time, the UK and France will coordinate their independent nuclear deterrence in response to extreme threats to Europe. The two countries are also likely to order more Storm Shadow cruise missiles, which have been crucial in supporting Ukraine. The summit marks a significant milestone in UK-France ties, with both nations aiming to deepen their cooperation on defence, security and economic issues. US President Donald Trump on Wednesday issued a round of tariff letters to 7 countries, which include Algeria, Iraq, Libya, Sri Lanka and the Philippines. The letters call for tariffs of 30% each on Algeria, Iraq, Libya and Sri Lanka, 25% each on Brunei and Moldova, and also 20% is coming in from the Philippines. The latest letters, in addition to 14 others, are set to take effect on the 1st of August, barring any trade deals reached between or before then. Tariffs were issued a day after Donald Trump said he was broadening his trade war by imposing a 50% tariff on imported copper and would soon introduce long-threatening levies on semiconductors and pharmaceuticals. Trump has also signaled that trade talks with China and European Union are well on track. Now, Washington has announced a staggering tariff 50% on all imports from Brazil, following a public spat with his Brazilian counterpart Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva this week. In the letter posted on Truth Social, Trump said that 50% tariff is linked to Brazil's treatment of former President Jair Bolsonaro, who is facing trial on charges of plotting a murder to stop President Lula from taking office in 2023. Trump also accused Brazil of attacking him on against U.S. tech companies. Donald Trump was involved in a public spat with Lula earlier this week, while Brazilian president fired back on Wednesday, saying new tariffs would be met with reciprocal measures. Brazil has invoked reciprocity law in response to Trump's tariffs. President Lula said that he will not accept interference from anyone and added that no one is above the law. And Trump has also announced a 50% tariff on copper, saying on social media that it would be effective from the 1st of August and that the decision was made after national security assessment. Trump signaled on Tuesday that he was imposing fresh tariffs on copper, sending U.S. COMEX copper futures to record highs. Now let's talk about West Asia, where leaders have been inching towards Gaza ceasefire deal as talks are going in good direction between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. President Donald Trump in the U.S. Speaking in an interview with Fox Business Network's Mornings with Maria, Netanyahu said negotiations are focused on 60-day settlement rather than ceasefire that would see half of the living and deceased hostages returned to Israel. He said Israel had set up its own system to prevent Hamas from diverting supplies.
And you have been meeting with President Trump about a potential ceasefire with Hamas. Where does that stand? Will you agree to some of these new recent demands of Hamas?
Well, look, we are talking about a 60-day ceasefire in which half the live hostages and half of the deceased hostages would be returned to Israel by these Hamas monsters, you know. And yes, I think we're getting closer to a deal, I think.
And President Trump is also quite optimistic that there is a very good chance of a ceasefire in Gaza this week or next, after meeting Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday for the second time in 2 days to discuss the situation.
Well, we're talking about Gaza for the most part. I think we have a chance this week or next week. Not definitely. There's nothing definite about war and Gaza and all of the other places that we all deal with so much. But there's a very good chance that we'll have a settlement, an agreement of some kind this week and maybe next week if not.
While the Hamas on Wednesday said it would release 10 hostages as part of Gaza ceasefire talks after Israel strikes an upbeat note about the prospects for a deal to stop the fighting in Gaza. The group's statement came after 4 days of indirect talks brokered by Qatar, and as the United States signaled its belief that agreement for a 60-day truce would be struck before the end of the week. Of the 251 hostages seized during the assault on Israeli border communities near Gaza, 49 are still held in the territory, including 27 the Israeli military says are dead. South Korea's former president has been rearrested over last year's failed martial law bid that plunged the country into political turmoil. Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached in April over the order, which saw military rule introduced for just 6 months, or rather 6 hours, in December. A senior judge at Seoul's Central District Court issued an arrest warrant for Yoon on Wednesday. This was citing fears he could destroy evidence. Yoon is already in trial for insurrection, personally appearing in court to contest the charges. However, Yoon has refused several summons from a special council launched by Parliament to investigate his marital law attempt, prompting prosecutors to seek his arrest on the 24th of June. Yoon, who was the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested, faces trial on charges of leading an insurrection over his attempt to impose martial law. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev met in the United Arab Emirates on Thursday. The meeting was to finalize a peace agreement after nearly 4 decades in conflict. The two leaders' first formal encounter since they agreed on the draft text of the peace document. Peace talks began after Azerbaijan recaptured Karabakh in September 2023, prompting almost all of the territory's 100,000 Armenians to flee to Armenia. In a potential stumbling block to a deal, Azerbaijan has said it wants Armenia to change its constitution, which it says makes implicitly claims to his victory. Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the world as well. 7 people were injured on the 4th day of Spain's Bull Run. Thousands of tourists came out from all over the world to participate in San Fermin, in the most famous of festivals. The Northern Festival's horse racing events officially began on the 10th of July, marking Mongolia's statehood anniversary. The first race featured 2-year-old horses running 17 kilometers. This took first place and earned the first title of this year's festival. For the first time, smart devices were used to measure the horse's height and ensuring its accuracy. Now, surrounded by love and laughter, giant panda Mang celebrated his 2nd birthday with his mother and fans. At Chongqing Zoo, birthday bear was spotted playing swinging while reaching out with his paws to pluck juicy grapes. Curiously sniffing them with wide-eyed wonder, adorned with fresh flowers and lush greenery, becomes a stunning backdrop. And taking you back to the US again, all 31 workers have been rescued after an industrial tunnel collapsed in Los Angeles' Wilmington area in California. The tunnel that collapsed had a diameter of 18 feet and was being constructed for municipal wastewater management. Aerials show workers being lifted in cages out of the shaft of the collapsed tunnel. The collapse happened about 6 miles, that is 10 kilometers south of its only access. And still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. National Fish Farmers Day 2025 is being observed today. Fisheries sector has witnessed remarkable achievements over the last 1 year. The Indian Army undertook flood relief operations in northeast and Himachal Pradesh as part of extensive humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, that's the HADR operations. And the Texas flash floods kill many. Research is still on for missing intensities. Governors ordered the flags to be lowered, and Trump, of course, is now on his way back from his property. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy, and before we go any further, another look at our top stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns home after a 5-nation tour, championing the cause of the Global South, Africa and Latin America outreach, and putting multilateralism and reform of global institutions have been major high points. Donald Trump slams 50% tariffs on Brazil. Lula hits back, citing the nation's reciprocity law, says will not accept any form of tutelage. And in cricket, India and England are all set for the Lord's showdown. Jasprit Bumrah is back in the side to boost its pace battery, and Jofra Archer will play his first test for England after 4 years. Alright, Prime Minister Narendra Modi continues to garner global recognition for his statesmanship and soaring popularity on the world stage. In the latest honor, he's been conferred with Namibia's highest civilian order, that is, award, the Order of the Most Ancient Wishiya Mirabilis, and this is the 27th international honor bestowed upon Prime Minister Modi. Here's a roundup of the prestigious accolades the Prime Minister has received in recent months.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred with Namibia's highest civilian award, the Order of the Most Ancient Wishiya Mirabilis. The award was presented by a Namibian president. This is not the first time that Prime Minister has been conferred with such state honors. Earlier, on July 9th, Prime Minister was awarded with Brazil's highest civilian award, the Grand Collar of the National Order of the Southern Cross. Brazilian President Lula da Silva presented the award in recognition of Prime Minister Modi's notable contributions to strengthening bilateral relations and enhancing India-Brazil cooperation across key global platforms. On July 4th, Prime Minister was awarded with the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the highest honor of the Caribbean nation, in a special ceremony at the President's house in Port of Spain. Prime Minister Modi is the first foreign leader to be conferred the award. On July 3rd, Prime Minister was awarded with Ghana's national honor, the Officer of the Order of the Star of Ghana, in recognition of his distinguished statesmanship and global leadership. In June this year, Prime Minister received highest honor of Cyprus, the Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III. In March this year, Barbados conferred on him the Honorary Order of the Freedom of Barbados. The award was presented by President of Barbados and accepted on behalf of Prime Minister by Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margareta. In the same month, during Mauritius' National Day celebrations, Prime Minister Modi was awarded the Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, the highest civilian honor of Mauritius. He is the first Indian leader to receive the award. In April, Sri Lanka honored him with the Sri Lanka Mitra Vibhushana Award, the country's highest honor for foreign leaders. It was also the first time this award was presented to an Indian leader. Later in July, he was officially presented with Russia's highest civilian honor, the Order of St. Andrew the Apostle. Though it was awarded to him in 2019, he received it in person in 2024. The award recognized his key role in building a strong strategic partnership between India and Russia and promoting friendship between the two nations. In November 2024, Nigeria conferred upon him the Grand Commander of the Order of Niger, its highest honor. He became the only second foreign leader to receive this award, showing the high regard for his global leadership. In the same month, the President of Guyana, Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali, awarded Prime Minister the country's highest national honor, the Order of Excellence, for his visionary leadership and his support for the rights of developing nations on global stage. Also in November, Prime Minister was honored with Dominica's highest national award, the Dominica Award of Honor. The award recognized his leadership, support to Dominica during COVID-19 pandemic, and efforts to strengthen ties between the two nations. In December 2024, the Amir of Kuwait awarded Prime Minister with the Order of Mubarak Al-Kabir, Kuwait's highest national honor. At the heart of these global recognitions lies Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision, one that focuses on the well-being of all humanity and on peace and dialogue. Whether addressing conflict, climate change or terrorism, Prime Minister's message remains clear. The world must stand united and work together to find lasting solutions. Bureau Report, DD India.
So the PM has wrapped up another successful, his longest foreign visit ever to 5 nations. And in all 5 nations, Prime Minister Modi highlighted issues faced by the Global South and also firmed up multiple pacts on areas of immense importance. The aim was deepening India's ties across continents from Africa to Latin America and also the Caribbean, so a different region thrown in as well. And we're now joined by Professor KG Suresh, a senior journalist, to talk about this landmark visit. KG, clearly all the accolades, the international accolades that the PM has got, 27 of them so far. This trip, you feel, does it really encapsulates why he deserves it, why he as India's leader is getting such global recognition?
Absolutely. Apart from the fact that he has been conferred the highest civilian honors in many countries, I think he has surpassed all previous prime ministers in addressing the national parliaments also of different countries. This certainly is a recognition of his leadership, but at the same time it is also a recognition of India's growing clout. So I think that this is an honor both for him and the country. And the fact that his trip was focused on placing India as the leader of the Global South. And I think he has been able to quite successfully do it, right from leading the G20 to next year we would be having the presidency of the of the BRICS. The BRICS would be hosted by us. And I think that this shows our deepening ties with the Global South, enhancing South-South cooperation, and emerging as a voice of the developing countries.
Yes.
Because India, when India speaks, it doesn't speak for itself. It speaks for the entire global south.
Right. And we're also due to host the Quad Summit as well.
Absolutely.
But do you feel that through this trip, Prime Minister Modi, along with the other leaders who were there for the BRICS Summit, have sort of put, the West, the developed world on notice in a way that if you do not listen to the global south, we're going to go our own way and then you'll wonder what happened.
Yes, absolutely. The message was loud and clear. India has always been, and please remember, it is also in terms of countering the growing Chinese influence in Africa. So his visits to whether it is Ghana, Namibia, and certainly the Caribbean countries have a
Even
long
Latin
association
America,
with, with India.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you have a great Indian diaspora out there, and who still, recall their close associations with their native country. So this is India's strength. And I think that he is banking on that, but at the same time he is also telling the developed West that if you do not take care of global concerns, then we will have no option. We will have to, come together and take our issues forward, whether it is related to environment, whether it is related to climate change, and also bilateral relations, in terms of minerals, in terms of defense. So many people, particularly after Operation Sindoor, are interested in our arms and ammunition. And there also there is a huge market which India is waiting to tap.
Oh,
I
yes.
think from the trade point of view, from the strategic point of view, as I said, to be a counterbalance to China, I think this visit was very significant, it being the longest visit, one of the longest visits of the Prime Minister after he took over.
Yes.
Almost a
I think
week-long
the
visit.
longest, because the one that was longest before this was back in 2015 when he had gone to UFA
Absolutely.
for the
Yes.
SCO and BRICS
Yes.
summits, and then to the Central Asian nations.
Yes.
And India is due to host a Central Asian nations summit as well, for that
Absolutely.
matter,
Yes.
to strengthen ties in
Yes.
with that part of the world. But
Yes.
apart from positioning India as the leader of the global south and sending out an effective message to the developed world that you need to look at how you are doing business, otherwise it will not be good. We will go our own separate way and do things our own way. Do you think it is also a trip out of which tremendous benefits will accrue to not only people in India through the kind of business that might be generated, investments that might come in, or investments that might be made in other countries, and generally be good for India's economic growth and global economic growth as well?
Certainly, it goes without saying that wherever the Prime Minister goes abroad, he certainly talks about the trade and and enhancing our exports, having MOUs not only on trade but also on manufacturing, getting those goods to India which we do not manufacture and which we can develop the capability, that is invest in India, make in India, has been his focus. But Gautam, I would like to highlight one more aspect.
Critical needs?
Which is,
Critical needs?
Absolutely. And one more aspect, Gautam, is that these are among the first visits after Operation Sindoor.
Yes.
So, from that point of view, also he wants to put across, of course, an all-party delegation had visited, but then when the Prime Minister goes to these countries and puts across, and remember, what happened at the BRICS summit, this was perhaps the strongest ever condemnation of the Pahalgam attack.
Yes,
and
cross-border movement of terrorists was also,
and they not only condemned that, they also condemned the double speak.
Yes.
They also condemned the double speak, which is perhaps, of course, they did not name the neighbor, but it was so evident, that who indulges in that. So the double speak was condemned. Terrorism, by taking the name of that, it happened in Jammu and Kashmir. That was a diplomatic victory of sorts for India. So I think that because earlier, Pakistan tried to, in the SCO summit, they tried to put Balochistan there but could not succeed when the defense minister, refused to sign the declaration.
Yes.
But this declaration was passed, unanimously passed.
Yes,
so
even
I think
China, even China endorsed it.
Yes, absolutely.
Which in itself is a huge thing.
Yes.
And what do you think are the other benefits? Because we are looking at, of course, parts of the world where which India had left sort of neglected really before, I think, especially before 2014. We didn't have much to do with Brazil or Argentina for that matter. But things are very different now and they're looking very promising. There are goals that have been set to take trade to unprecedented levels.
See, we have so many things in common apart from being developing countries. Brazil, for example, is one of the largest countries in the world, which also, when you look for an expansion of the UN Security Council, it is also among the countries which can find a place in the scheme of things, the new scheme of things. So it is but legitimate that the new emerging powers also collaborate and cooperate.
Yes.
And also, now when it comes to our diaspora countries, he has also talked about offering OCI to the citizens there. Now that means
the 6th or 7th generation.
Yes, to the new, the younger generation, the latest generation. So this means their attachment with their mother country, and obviously that has its economic dividends as well.
Of course.
So it is a long-term, far-sighted, move that the Prime Minister has made, and he has won hearts wherever he has gone. He has taken Indian culture to the remotest corners of the world. And I think that in that way, India's not just hard power in terms of military, in terms of diplomacy, but also India's soft power was on full display.
Definitely, and we hope that future trips are also equally successful.
Absolutely.
I am not at liberty to say where he is heading next, but he'll be heading out very soon to other foreign shores as well.
Absolutely.
So let's hope that those are also equally, if not more, successful. Thanks for joining us and talking about it. This particular trip, at least, KG. Now, the 11th edition of India Energy Storage Week, that's the IESW, a premier international conference and exhibition, was held at Yashobhumi Convention Center in New Delhi. The 3-day conference, held from the 8th to the 10th of this month, saw participation of delegates from over 20 countries and over 1,000 companies. The event aimed at promoting innovation in the areas of energy storage, electric vehicles and green hydrogen, and attract investments worth 8,000 crore Indian rupees. IESW 2025 is proving to be a milestone towards establishing India as a global energy storage and manufacturing hub. Now, strengthening India's last mile connectivity is key to reducing logistics costs and making it easier to do business. That's the message from Minister of State for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Shantanu Thakur. Speaking at the CII conference on export logistics in New Delhi, the minister underlined that seamless connectivity and removal of bottlenecks are paramount if India is to sustain its growth momentum. He also called on all stakeholders, industry and government, to work together on improving infrastructure and supply chains to help Indian exports become more competitive globally.
70% transportation is doing by the ports, shipping and waterways. So I think it takes a vital role in future by our ministry, and we are trying to focus the 2047's vision which taken by our Honorable Prime Minister, and by his thoughts we will try to grow that as compare as the others. It was only 5 national waterways before. So right now, for the guidance of our Honorable Prime Minister, we are going through, it's developing 111 inland waterways, and it is practically very cheaper than the other communication. So we are trying to very much focus of it and trying to develop it for the future betterment.
The National Fish Farmers Day 2025 is being observed today. Over the years, fisheries sector has witnessed remarkable achievements and advancements, with constant effort of the Modi government in transforming the fisheries sector in a holistic way through the Blue Revolution in the country. Since 2015, the central government has invested 38,572 Indian crore rupees in the fisheries sector. As a result of these efforts, India's fish production has more than doubled. From 2014 to 2025, the sector witnessed an astonishing growth of 104%. Inland fisheries and aquaculture alone have seen a 140% increase. The seafood exports have crossed 60,500 crore INR, affirming India's global leadership in shrimp exports. Shrimp production has jumped by 270% over the last decade. Now let's get you some weather updates as well. Well, Delhi NCR has been experiencing heavy rainfall. In Gurugram, intermittent overnight rainfall led to waterlogging in multiple areas and traffic disruptions. The Met Department has forecast that rainfall in Delhi NCR is likely to continue over the next 2 days, with generally cloudy skies with very light to moderate rain accompanied by thunderstorms and lightning. This kind of weather can be expected till the 15th of this month. Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport has issued an advisory for passengers to consider alternative modes of transport. Boats maybe. Unrelenting rainfall also continues across southeast Madhya Pradesh and south Chhattisgarh, leading to widespread waterlogging. Heavy showers are expected to persist over Vidarbha, Jharkhand, Odisha and West Bengal throughout the week. Meanwhile, coastal regions including Konkan, Goa and Gujarat brace for intense spells of rain. South India is also in for a wet spell, with Kerala, coastal Karnataka and Telangana facing heavy showers accompanied by strong winds reaching up to 50 km per hour. Authorities remain on high alert as monsoon activity intensifies across multiple zones. Now, as part of ongoing humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations in Himachal Pradesh, the Indian Army continues to extend critical support to civil administration in Mandi district. SDRF and NDRF teams have been working in close coordination with the local authorities. The Indian Army has deployed dedicated relief camps across key locations. Medical assistance and distribution of relief material has been provided by the team deployed in the area. Himachal Chief Minister is scheduled to visit Thunag to assess the ongoing relief operations. A meeting with the Chief Minister and Deputy Commissioner Mandi is also planned to enhance cooperation and response. Let's get you a live update. We're joined from the capital of Himachal Pradesh, Shimla, by DD India's Rachna Sharma. Rachna, good afternoon. What can you tell us about how things are going in terms of people being reached out to, because they've been hit really badly in the past few days, particularly in districts like there are several districts, but Mandi has been very badly hit, although Sirmaur too is quite badly off.
Definitely, it's been 2 weeks now since the Mandi has been hit by the massive disaster, and afterwards the local administrations and the central agencies are working together to bring life normal at Mandi's districts. If I may read out some data to you, currently Indian Army has deployed around 125 personnel, including the engineering and medical staffs. NDRF has deployed around 580 people, and SDRF has 60 to 70 people. So in totality, there are 800 people, and various NGOs are also working on grounds to bring relief to the families. Apart from that, many prominent ministers, current Union Health Minister JP Nadda also visited the affected families and affected area and assured that full assistance from the central government and the state government. Additionally, CM Sukhu has also assured people that he will provide land who has lost their lands during the massive disasters by taking special permission from the central government. When talking to the road restorations, 45 JCBs are completely working on the grounds, solely working on the Mandi districts. So yes, the restoration process is working on a good pace, definitely slowly because of the uncertain weather conditions.
And Himachal Pradesh is a major tourist destination as well. Tourists were reported to be stuck as well. Are they all now okay now? And what is the status of tourism now in the state?
See, administration is trying their best to make the people who are stuck in the tourists specifically who are stuck into the upper districts, upper area of the Thunag, they are trying their best to reach out. Since the road connectivity is the basic issue, due to which they are getting a little time. But of course, they have provided health and medical and food to them.
Rachna, let's hope that the state makes a smooth and swift recovery with all the help that it can get from different quarters, including the centre. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment. Now, in response to the recent wave of heavy rains and urban flooding in the northeastern region, the Indian Army has launched extensive humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations under Operation Jal Rahat 2, with coordinated deployment across Nagaland, Assam and Manipur. These efforts are being led by Headquarters Inspector General, North Assam Rifles North, in collaboration with local civil administration. And now in a completely different part of the world, in Texas, an update on the floods there. The devastating floods sweeping through central Texas have claimed at least 119 lives, with over 160 people still being unaccounted for. Workers in central Texas continued to comb through piles of muddy debris from the 4th of July floods as Governor Greg Abbott ordered flags to be lowered to half-mast over the tragedy. Governor Abbott, who toured the affected areas recently, said the state's emergency alert system would be reviewed in a special legislative session this month. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump will be visiting Texas on Friday to assess the damage and meet with officials. Cryptocurrency Bitcoin has surged to a fresh all-time high of nearly $112,000 early Thursday, driven by a mix of growing risk appetite, sustained international institutional inflows and macroeconomic optimism. The rally comes on the heels of dovish signals from the US Federal Reserve and renewed investor confidence in digital assets. Since the beginning of the year, Bitcoin has advanced more than 18%. Bitcoin's rally also spread to other cryptocurrencies. Ether, the second largest digital currency, also rallied, hitting a one-month high of $2,795 US. Let's talk about sports now. The India versus England 5-match test series heads into its pivotal third chapter at the most iconic cricket venue of them all, which is Lord's. The test series is finally balanced at 1-1. As the third test approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher, with both the sides eyeing a crucial lead. While India arrive with the momentum of a record-breaking win, England will be desperate to restore parity on familiar turf. Take a look.
After a dominant 336-run victory at Edgbaston, India carried not just momentum but renewed belief. Their captain Shubman Gill, who scored over 400 runs in that match alone, returns to the home of cricket as a batter in sublime form, leading a side hungry to rewrite their overseas record. But England, bruised yet unbowed, will look to bounce back hard. The Lord's surface, known for its early movement, could tempt the host to tweak their bowling attack. Eyes are on speedster Jofra Archer, who returned to the squad after recovering from injury. Meanwhile, India welcome back their pace spearhead Jasprit Bumrah. His inclusion promises a thrilling duel, especially against England's in-form middle order.
Lords का जो टेस्ट का जो फर्स्ट सेकंड इनिंग का स्कोर्स भी है वो कंपैरेटिवली लो है, सो एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि थोड़ा हेल्प बॉलर्स को ज्यादा हो सकता है. बैट्समैन के लिए चैलेंजिंग सेम थिंग मैं बिलीव करता हूं कि वो माइंड सेट ही है. Spending time on the wickets is the best friend you can have.
Akashdeep, fresh from a record-breaking 10-wicket haul, rattled England's top order and notably cleaned up Joe Root with a fabulous delivery at Edgbaston. The right-arm seamer now faces the challenge of maintaining that form under the scrutiny of Lords. India's batting has found rhythm too. Apart from Captain Gill, Vice-Captain Rishabh Pant, Yashasvi Jaiswal and KL Rahul have showcased fearlessness and scored valuable centuries across both tests.
We, over the, history of 50-60 years, we played 7 matches over different courses, different teams coming here. I believe this is the best Indian team to be able to come here in England, and we have the capability to beat them, to win the series from here. And we have got the right momentum with us. If we keep making the right decisions and we keep grinding and we keep fighting, I think it would be one of the series to remember.
For England, a response is imperative. The batting unit, led by Stokes, Root, Brooke and Pope, has to find answers against India's varied and confident bowling attack. As the battle for Test supremacy intensifies, both teams know the third Test could be decisive. With the series tied at 1-1 and the Lord's stage set, expect no shortage of drama and defining moments. Sports Desk, DD India.
And we'll be focusing more on that contest with my colleague Abhishek Mahajan in just a bit, after a short reprieve from at least me, because that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both iOS and Android. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
तीन महीने में पैसे डबल।
वाह, फास्ट और हाई रिटर्न्स भी।
क्या स्कीम है? कल तो नहीं थी यहाँ।
और कल होगा भी नहीं।
तूने कभी 5 ओवर में डबल सेंचुरी मारी है?
ऐसे स्कीम के बहकावे में आके हम धोखा खा सकते हैं।
और आरबीआई कहता है अपना पैसा सुरक्षित रखो और समझदारी से निवेश करो। अगर ज्यादा रिटर्न के पीछे भागोगे तो रिस्क भी उतना ही उठाओगे।
और फास्ट रिटर्न से बच के।
और फास्ट बॉलिंग से भी।
आरबीआई कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
Open your mind to a whole new world. Explore mystic wonders of nature in the forests.
तो मुझे देख के आपको लग रहा है कि मुझे इजी वाला देना चाहिए।
Uncover secrets hidden deep inside the earth.
And I'd always heard of this ancient Shiv Mandir which is inside a cave.
Experience the rich cultural legacy.
मुझे बताइए इस डांस फॉर्म के बारे में, इस आर्ट फॉर्म के बारे में।
Experience the blend of vibrant warmth and stunning creations.
अरे it fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Jharkhand, let it become a part of you. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome to Haryana, where the indomitable spirit of humanity unites. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. Johar. अरे it fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.